There are some decisions that you're going to make for your child that affect their entire life. And no, I'm not talking about where they go to college or where you choose to raise them. I'm talking about the decisions you make on how you want to raise your child. So today I'm going to talk about 8 decisions that you need to consider making for your child. And I'm going to tell you exactly why these decisions were made for me as a child and how they affect me today. And I would love for you to join in the conversation and let me know, what decisions did your parents make? How did they consciously raise you? And how does that affect you as an adult? Numbers 6, 7, and 8 are pretty controversial, so you're going to want to stick around and give your opinion. Number 1, enforce outside time and make your kids connect with nature. Now, I'm not saying you need to go live in a cabin in the woods. We grew up in suburbia, but my mother would take us routinely to a little patch of the woods that was nearby, and she would open up acorns and show us, and she would point out, look at the deer walking by, and that just got us to love nature. And then at a certain age, around 8 or 9, she kicked us out of the house and she said, go out of the house and don't come back in when? Till those street lights came on. And we would be out there in the winter and in the scorching summer as well. And she made that a point. Now, don't think that that was normal, because it wasn't. We had tons of kids in our neighborhood, and only us and a few other families had kids who were playing outside all the time. Well, why does it matter? Why do your children need to connect with nature? Well, number one, we now know it's good for our mental health. It's good for people to get outside, walk around. So it's good for a child's mental well being, but also now as an adult, I don't have a problem taking a walk. I don't have a problem looking at the trees. I know the peace that hearing the birds in the morning brings. So that allows me to make certain decisions about my mental health and how I choose to stay mentally fit. It also helps our physical health. Of course, you're outside. I realize now as an adult, I have skills that other adults have because their parents didn't send them outside, apparently. I can ride a bike, I can rollerblade, I can do all those things now as an adult to keep myself healthy and fit and moving. I may not be as fit as I would like right now, but I know that I have things that I can do, skills that I can do, ways to move my body because I did them when I was younger. And I realized we went on a siblings trip, my siblings and I, last year. You can check out my sister's channel. It was a wonderful trip around this time of year. We went to Tennessee, and I suggested that we go on a hike. I didn't hear any complaints from my siblings. We all went to the local, or I think it was actually a national park, and we took a hike and we climbed. And that was something that we could do together as siblings. It was a bonding experience. So I want you to think about, what are some ways that your children will be able to bond when they're older? What are some things that you do? What are the things that you instill in them as children that they can carry into their adulthood? And when you're gone, when you're long gone, are they going to stick together? Do they have those type of things? So keep them outside, keep them in nature. Number 2, go ahead and cut out TV and social media. Go ahead and cut it out. When we were young, we didn't have cable. We did not have cable. So, SpongeBob, Rugrats, all those other classic shows that people saw on cable, we were not raised with them. And guess what? I do not care. I am an adult now. It does not make me feel any kind of way. And it did not make me feel like I was missing out at that time because I didn't know any better. And guess what else? I would go over the kids' houses and say, hey, can so and so come out to play? She's watching TV. Hey, can so and so come out? Let me go ask her. Oh no, SpongeBob is about to come on. What? So I know that because you watch cable, it doesn't mean that you have a horrible life now, but you did miss out on going to that waterfall that we saw when we went all together. You did miss out on going to the creek, and you did miss out on seeing those beautiful horses there. So for all those hours that kids were inside watching TV, we were outside exploring. We were taking a look at worms and caterpillars. By the way, I have not seen worms and caterpillars in years. Where have they gone? But I digress. We were building forts. We were making plays. We were singing songs. And then when we got bored, we would be reading books or encyclopedias. Man, my mom had this huge collection of encyclopedias. And because we didn't have cable or TV a lot of the times, we would just be reading through those encyclopedias. So we self taught ourselves a lot of things. How do you do this, Akiba? Well, my mom back then would take the remote, take the antenna. Remember the antenna? And sometimes we didn't even have the antenna, we just had a little hanger. She would take that hanger and hide it away somewhere. Nowadays, take the remote, unplug your TV, cancel your subscriptions, do whatever you need to do. Do your parental settings on there to restrict the amount of time your children are spending on TV and on social media. You don't even have to take it down to zero. There are so many educational programs, but really drastically reduce that. It's literally a waste of time. Next, follow your instincts. There were some times where my mom would not let us go over even our own family's home. She didn't do any sleepovers. I think I had one when I was a child, but mostly no sleepovers. And occasionally, no sleepovers at so and so family member's house. And she was right. And I did not find out until I was an adult, but she was right. We should not have gone over those houses. And sometimes it's not something that people know, but just a feeling. Follow your instincts. Even in my last video, when I was talking about going and letting your child be more independent, going into stores by themselves, ordering food for themselves, whatever it may be, if you feel like my child isn't ready for that, or I don't know if I can do that, if you feel that way, you probably shouldn't be doing it. So follow your own instinct and know how to keep your child safe. Number 4, let your children do their own work. Don't do their projects. Don't do their projects. Number 1, we can tell that you've done their projects. But number 2, you want to let them feel the consequences of not doing their work, and you also want to help them do their work and learn the value of hard work. My mother would wake us up in the middle of the night if we hadn't finished our school projects or schoolwork and make us finish that work. She would not do it for us. When we had an essay in 4th and 5th grade, she would help us, but she wasn't about to type that thing up. I was right there on that typewriter, typing that whole paper up, going back through with whiteout. So let your children do it. Why? It creates an independent person. You want your children to be independent, let them do it. And it prepares them for hard work. When I talk to my siblings and we all can work and we all can work hard. And sometimes, often, we look at people and we think, okay, your mama never made you finish your schoolwork. Your mama never got you up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to do the work that you hadn't finished. And it shows. Okay. Maybe they did. But I personally just love being able to work hard. I do. And I really do think it's a skill that starts when your child is young, teaching them the value, because that's why we say the value. There is value in hard work. And I would see, like, wow, I put in the hours in this project. I studied, I memorized my lines, I did whatever I needed to do. I did PowerPoint, whatever it was back then, and look, I got the grade. Or look, people said my presentation was great. Okay? So teach them the value of hard work starting when they're young. Number 5, teach your children to swim. I know this is just like a single thing, but raise your children knowing how to swim. It's a life skill that everyone should have. No person who is capable of swimming should die by drowning, unless it's, a situation, a riptide, something crazy, right? But your child at age 15, 16 shouldn't be drowning in a pool, okay? We shouldn't be scared of the water because human beings can learn how to swim and it doesn't take that long. So make that a priority. If you haven't made it a priority in the past, I'm telling you right now, go up to the YMCA. They even have financial aid. Enroll your children in swim lessons. That's where we learned for the first time. And then we did swim team. And boy, I really hated swim team. I really, if my mother would have said, "Do you guys want to quit?" We would have said, "Yes, we do want to quit." And I bet she wanted to quit it as well because it's hard work for the parent. She had to make that decision. Okay, every Saturday in the summer, I got to get up and take you to these swim meets across town and sit there for 6 hours in the sweltering sun because this could save your life one day. This skill is something that could save your child's life one day. It doesn't matter if you can't swim. Teach your child to swim. And if you have a young child, 2, 3, 4, you can't swim, you need to learn to swim. I follow these stories a lot, and there are people who they're just watching their child drown because they can't swim. You don't want to be in a position where your child has wandered off into the lake. You see them, you could reach them, but you can't swim to go get them. Don't do that to yourself. Teach your child to swim, teach yourself to swim. It's also fun and it opens up so many opportunities and things to do when you go to places. So, how are you going to jump into a waterfall and you don't know how to swim? I mean, I guess people do, but safely. Okay, number 6, 7, and 8. We've come to the controversial type things. Number 6, cook your child healthy meals and manage your child's weight. In addition to that, I'm going to add model healthy eating. And this is something that I am working on to this day because when I get stressed, I eat sweets. And I learned that from my mama. And that's not something I want to pass on to my children. Now, we were fed incredibly healthy meals. We always ate at home 99% of the time. McDonald's never went there except when they started having those $1 a month like kid family nights. We started going there once a month on the Wednesday of the month when they had that $1 meal and we had that $1 meal. Okay, so manage your child's healthy weight. I do know a lot of adults who are overweight or obese, and when we talk about their childhood, they say, "I wish my mother or my father would have taken care of this. I wish they would have made me eat healthy." Because children don't want to go through childhood obese. They actually don't. Like this modern thing of like, okay, fine, it's cool to be obese, body positivity. That is true, that's great, but children actually don't want to be obese because they can't play and they can't do other things like the other children do. Obviously, they can play, but there are a lot of things that they're just really physically incapable of doing because of their physical condition. Now, you have a bigger child, an overweight child, like slightly overweight, over the line, okay. But keep an eye on it, and particularly if your child has weight that is causing them to be tired, to not be able to run and keep up with the other kids. That was what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like body positivity. Okay, everyone's body is built differently. Some kids developed differently. I'm talking about your child can't run and keep up with the other kids. That's not fair to them. It's really not. That's the foundation. Okay? At least let them have a good foundation. And then if they choose to ruin it when they get adults, they can't blame you. The other thing that I appreciate our mother doing, and I remember our mother in the wintertime making us do sit-ups and push-ups and all these types of things. It was fun. Exercise is fun for kids. Run up and down the steps, force them to do it. Obviously, if you have a child who is now very overweight or obese, they may not want to be running up and down the steps. They're going to complain. So what? They're going to be thanking you in 10 and 20 years. They're going to say, "I don't even remember us doing that. Thank you, mother, for caring about my health and for forcing us to do it." So do that. Make sure you do that. Number 7, apologize to your child and acknowledge when and if you are wrong. Why did I add this one? Well, because my mother did it and I appreciated it as a child. That's the only reason I added this one. And now I do it with my children. The reason it came up is because I realized many people have mommy issues. They're upset with their parents. And I remember just for me as a child, my mother being very reasonable. So if she said something that was out of line or yelling at me, or if I took something some kind of way, she would say, I'm sorry, I should not have said that. And so then I just feel like, okay, well, she's reasonable. I can't say she's unreasonable. Some things, maybe as a teenager, I did think were unreasonable. But overall, I could say, okay, you were reasonable. So I'm just saying, from what I hear from you guys, my adult peers, that you may want to make sure that you're being a reasonable parent and apologize when you need to. You're also teaching your child to do the same. You're teaching them to have accountability for their actions. None of us are ever going to be perfect. And so you're showing your child, hey, people aren't perfect, but when something happens, we can apologize, we can make things right. You also want to model for them how they should interact with other people in the world and how people should interact with them. So you don't want them in any sort of relationship where someone is doing something to them and they're just totally unapologetic about it and it's fine, right? Model that for them. I meant to say also about the cooking healthy meals before I go on to number 8. I appreciate that we had to eat at home and that we ate beans, we ate rice, we ate chicken, we ate Brussels sprouts, we ate a lot of healthy foods, we ate liver. You guys know that I have blood issues where I need more iron, and all I can, like, now I just pick up some liver and eat some liver because I was fed that as a child, so it's not foreign to me. I don't know what meat I would like to eat if I hadn't been raised on liver. So raise your children on your healthy cultural foods, whatever is traditional for you, also so that when they're older, even if we stray a bit and have too many Oreos, when they're older, they know, okay, you know what did I eat growing up? Let me just go back to that. So I'm grateful. I don't have to go to any cookbook or do anything extra. I just think, what did my mom make for us? That's just what I'm going to do. You don't want your children to grow up and say, how do I become healthy? What did my mom have for us? Oh, Chick-fil-A every other day? Mm-mm. And I'm calling myself out, okay? Because there have been times in the recent past where we've had so much Chick-fil-A that my kids hate it now, okay? The last thing, please raise your children with some morals, values, culture, religion. I would personally recommend our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But if you have something else, go for it. Why? We live in a society that it seems like many people have no morals, no values. Basic things. They're okay with stealing. They're okay with being nasty to people. They're okay with looking at the poor and just walking by, not caring about others. They're also lost. We're lost. There's so much mental health issues going on. That's always been a thing. But when you have nothing to pull from, you don't have a cup, you don't have a book, you don't have an upbringing to pull from, what are you going to do? Anyway, consider those things. Let me know what you think.